you see, still above the market that we are trading now. Now, what happened after they took the decision in January, we will export 1 million ton, even if we cannot afford, because they started to talk about the lower production. So what happened? So on January 17, prices recovered a bit because of lower production estimates. They were trading 34, 35 K rupees. Then they took the decision on January 20, okay, to export. Already in one day, prices were higher by 350 rupees, local prices. And then we go on February 4, they were up about 2,800, right? So the government reached the target without spending 1 rupee for the program. No subsidy, no nothing. But will this thing happen now? That's the problem. Because now nobody will pay to UP Mills 7,000 rupees for the license, for the export license to be exchanged, right? Maybe they will get maximum 1,000. So that's the thing. We talk about India. We don't know how much will come out of India. Previous numbers we had was about 32 million tons of sugar production and 3.9 diversion to ethanol. Now we go to 3.4 million tons for ethanol and maybe 32.5. We don't know if this will be confirmed because we have to wait for the tests. But what means this? This bar here is at the same levels with 23, 24, 22, 23, and below 21, 22. This means that is not so much as people exaggerate, right? We will have stocks at 7.1, diversion 3.4, and maybe production 32.5, or maybe lower, maybe 32. We don't know, okay? Now, will they allow more exports? They were very afraid of the stock level this year. They finished with about 5.1 million tons in stocks. They sit comfortably on 6.5. The government doesn't say anything if stocks are 6.5. So now we project with 1.8 million tons of exports, including smuggling, stocks at 7.1. Will they give more than that? We don't know. But they sat comfortably on big stocks before, right? Look at these years. Carry forward 15 million tons, 11 million tons, 8 million tons, 7.1 million tons for India. It's okay, right? Could they add more exports? Maybe. Thailand, a ray of hope, finally. They were destroyed by China this year. Unfortunately, everything that they sent previously on whites was almost finished. They managed to send to China even 1.3, 1.5 million tons of equivalent white sugar in premixes, in syrups, in whatever. Now this collapsed. Their cash premium went from $60 on top of London to 0, and now they are recovering a bit, going around 20. And now we have the final data, official data. 201,000 tons of refined sugar from Thailand was finally sent in Q4 via the export processing zone. That's good news because this is all the premix that they can send. They cannot send sugar syrup, but they can send premix. And then don't get me wrong, but many people that control this business are Chinese, but based in Thailand. So they negotiate with the government of China, whatever. And then they said, okay, let's export. Let's give it. Now, the big question mark is what they will do with the rows that they will produce when they start the crop. They had a very bad experience this year that they remained with a lot of white sugar. They remained with rows that couldn't be exported. They maximized stalling, so on and so forth. Would they like to repeat this idea or not? In our trade flows, we have 1.47 million tons of high pole exports in Q1. That's much higher than this year in Q1 and a bit below the maximum they reached 3 years ago, 1.6. My view is that they could hurry up export, get rid of this sugar. Like this, we stabilize the market. But if they don't reach to export 1.47 in Q1 and they do 1.1, 1.2, then everything will be carried in Q2. Then in Q2, they will have to take the decision. Will we maximize again the remelt? Because remelt starts in April, right? And then what we do, we flood the white sugar market with sugar again. That's, again, a very big case, right? So we have here, because production is expected higher, we have more high poles out of Thailand, and then whites refined almost at the same level with this here. Let's see what they will decide. Another thing on rose is that China, both China and Indonesia, because they will have higher production, consistent production, they will import less sugar. We've seen that, you see China from a peak of about 5.9 million tons of rose imports in 2021 went down and stabilized, and they were close to 4.1 per season, not per calendar year. And then Indonesia the same, right? So Indonesia seems to need less and less than the world market. Let's see if production will confirm there, but they had kind of a pick up in production in Indonesia in the past 4 years, and they seem to need less. Now, split on quarters, we have these figures, right? So these bars are the raw sugar imports for 25, 26 dotted ones. So we see China taking less in Q1, going higher in Q3. Indonesia, we consider 1.3 imports in Q1. Will they confirm this, or they will delay again the imports into other quarters? We never know, but those are in the numbers now in whatever you saw there. And then to end up with UK and EU, suddenly EU saw that their stocks are higher in year on year, 450k higher. They had to move this sugar out. So they want to sell it, doesn't matter at which price, just to clear everything and then prepare for the new crop, which seems to be a bit higher than what was estimated before. So maybe they will add more white exports. This number of 1.53 million tons of white exports from EU 27 is here, was about 1.35. Now we are moving up to 1.53. European Commission says that there is room for 1.7, right? But we don't have to take it for granted. But they could add easily another 200,000 tons, but they don't like the price. So why would we work now with 1.7 million tons of exports out of EU 27 when price doesn't make sense? But still, you see, they will have this. And then Ukraine and Russia just 600,000 tons of surplus they will give to the stun countries. And then Ukraine hesitating now to sell because they don't like prices. But for how long can you keep the sugar, move it, and then carry it? There is a cost of money, not like in Brazil, close to 18%, 20% per year, but still nobody likes to carry sugar like this and don't have a hope for the future. So thank you very much for all your attention. I hope I didn't take out too long of your time. Enjoy again this nice event. Thank you, Felipe. And then let's try to be a bit more hopeful for the following year.